Paychecks grew, credit cards appeared, and Americans believed the good times would never end. By 1965, consumer debt tripled, and easy money became a silent addiction. So how did the smartest families keep wealth steady while everyone else floated on borrowed cash? Today, we'll uncover the 1960s money lessons that could still save your wallet. Why 1960s families kept cash in kitchen envelopes instead of banks. Every Friday night, paychecks came home in cash. No apps, no auto pay. Families sat at kitchen tables with plain envelopes marked rent, food, gas, and savings. By 1963, nearly 70% of American households used some version of this system. It wasn't fancy, but it worked because you could see, touch, and count every dollar. When the envelope for groceries got light, the family cut coupons. When the rent envelope filled, the stress faded. That physical act of dividing cash made people think before spending. Economists later called it visible money discipline. A 1967 Life magazine survey showed that families using envelope budgeting saved 12% more per year than those using checkbooks. The secret was friction. Money was real, not numbers on a screen. That weekly ritual didn't just organize bills. It built trust, communication, and a sense of control inside homes. Next week's cash felt safer when everyone had seen where it went. A quiet power. Most digital budgets lost decades later. The strange ritual of updating a Passbook savings account every week, every Saturday morning, long before online banking or ATMs, families lined up at their local branch with a small, worn blue book. That was the Passbook savings account, the financial heartbeat of the 1960s. Every deposit or withdrawal got stamped in ink by hand. The numbers didn't move automatically. You saw your progress, one line at a time. A $10 deposit meant something. In 1964, the average interest rate was 4%, and families checked that figure religiously. Kids would watch the teller slide the passbook through the machine and print plus $10 in crisp blue letters. It was visual proof of discipline, money earned, not borrowed. Banks even ran ads around it. A 1966 Chase Manhattan campaign read, "Bring your passbook, watch your savings grow." People trusted those little books more than any statement in the mail. It wasn't about tech or convenience, it was about connection. You knew your balance because you physically held it. Today, most people scroll past theirs without emotion. And while families guarded their passbooks carefully, another quiet revolution in money was already taking shape, one that replaced marble bank counters with community tables and loyalty over profit. How credit unions quietly replaced big banks for working families. By the early 1960s, big banks had marble lobbies, but small-town workers couldn't always get in the door. Credit unions changed that. They were born from factories, schools, and veterans' halls, real people pooling their savings so everyone could afford a fair loan. In 1962, America had over 20,000 credit unions, serving nearly 11 million members. Teachers borrowed for tuition, factory workers for cars, and nurses for home repairs. Interest rates stayed low, usually 3 to 4%, while commercial banks charged double. A GM line worker in Detroit once said, "My credit union knows me by name, not account number." That human side mattered. There were no penalty fees, no overdraft traps, no glossy ads, just trust. The slogan on the posters said it all, people helping people. These unions didn't just lend money, they created stability. Members saved automatically through payroll deductions and those small deposits became the lifeline for others. But while credit unions built community wealth, another savings habit quietly turned the holidays from financial stress into disciplined celebration, a trick that made December debt-free for millions of families. The Christmas Club trick that made saving for holidays feel automatic. By 1960, Christmas Club accounts were everywhere, at banks, credit unions, and even department stores. Each week, families deposited a few dollars, usually between $2 and $10, into a locked savings plan meant for December spending. It started during the Depression, but by the early 60s, over 12 million Americans used them. The rules were strict: no withdrawals until the payout date, and every dollar went toward gifts, food, or travel. For many households, this was the first experience with automated saving. A 1965 Saturday Evening Post story called it the happiest discipline in America. Kids saw their parents drop in cash each payday, knowing that holiday bills wouldn't crush January. Some banks even mailed Christmas Club checks with festive red borders, symbols of pride, not pressure. This system made saving emotional, visible, and shared. It wasn't about interest, it was about relief. By December, families could shop without guilt or credit. That mindset, small, steady deposits for predictable goals, kept households afloat through inflation and recessions alike. But saving was only half the game. The other half happened at the grocery store, where numbers, not decorations, decided who stayed on budget and who didn't. Why grocery price books turned shoppers into walking calculators. Every 1960s homemaker had one tool that stores quietly feared: the price book. It wasn't fancy. Just a small spiral notebook filled with pages of handwritten numbers, tracking every item from flour to laundry soap. A 1963 Better Homes and Gardens guide said, "Know your prices, or you'll never know your savings." Housewives took that literally. They recorded the cost per ounce, date of sale, and store name. Some even color-coded pages: blue for meat, green for produce, red for cleaning goods. This habit mattered. Grocery prices were creeping up 3 to 4% a year, and supermarkets used flashy deals to hide inflation. By checking their own books, families could see when a sale was a trick. A 1966 Gallup survey found that 62% of women compared store prices weekly, far higher than today's rate tracking apps. The payoff was real money. One Ohio mother told Ladies' Home Journal she saved $4 a week, about $40 today, just by using her book. But tracking prices was just the first half of the battle. The next trick turned paper coupons and store loyalty stamps into an extra paycheck, all hidden in plain sight. The coupon clipping race that turned Wednesdays into payday, Part 2. In 1964, the Sunday paper was money printed in ink. Families spread it across the kitchen table, scissors ready, turning the food section into a treasure map of savings. Coupon culture exploded after World War II, but in the 1960s, it became serious business. Supermarkets ran double stamp Wednesdays. One coupon could earn 2 sets of green stamps, tradable later for real goods like blenders or radios. A full stamp book was worth around $3 in merchandise, a small fortune to a one-income family. Women tracked every deal by hand. A 1966 Family Circle survey found that the average homemaker saved $1.50 a week through coupons, roughly $15 in today's dollars. That's gas money or half a week's groceries. Stores tried to outdo each other with bonus coupons for loyal customers. and people formed informal swap groups to trade extras. Clipping became a skill, part math, part timing, part survival. But saving on groceries didn't stop at checkout. At home, another habit stretched that dollar even further, by fixing what broke instead of tossing it out. How people repaired everything from TVs to shoes instead of buying new by the mid-1960s. Every neighborhood had a fix-it man. He could patch a radio, sew a torn coat, and even rewire a toaster for a few dollars. Replacing things felt wasteful. In 1962, a family might spend $400 on a television, nearly a month's pay. So, repair shops stayed busy. Shoe repair was huge. Around 70,000 cobblers worked across America. Local TV shops used vacuum tube testers, often free for customers, so families could fix problems before buying replacements. Women repaired clothes at home, too. Sewing patterns from Simplicity or McCall's sold millions yearly. A small tear never meant throwing something away. As one 1965 Life article said, "A needle and thread stretch a paycheck better than a raise." This mindset built patience and self-reliance. Things lasted longer and money stretched further. It was a slower rhythm, but it worked. However, that same discipline soon shifted to another strategy, one that froze prices and stretched food through any shortage, no matter what happened at the store. The freezer plans that kept 1960s families fed through any crisis. In 1963, home freezers became the new security blanket. Families began organizing food like bankers organize cash by category, date, and weight. Grocery stores ran freezer plan deals. Buy 100 pounds of meat in bulk, get it cut, wrapped, and frozen for a set price. It saved up to 25% compared to weekly shopping. The U.S. Department of Agriculture even released guides for ideal storage times: 3 months for pork, 6 for beef, a year for vegetables. Freezers changed habits. Homemakers planned meals for weeks, labeling containers with masking tape and grease pencils. In rural areas, neighbors split livestock orders. In cities, frozen food co-ops became a quiet trend. Freezers also supported ration discipline. By 1969, nearly 60% of middle-class homes owned one, up from just 8% 2 decades earlier. Bulk buying meant fewer trips, less impulse spending, and steady prices even when inflation ticked upward. But to buy all that food, people had to resist another trap: quick credit. So, they found a smarter, slower way to afford the big stuff. How Layaway stopped impulse buying before credit cards took over. Before plastic ruled wallets, Layaway ruled department stores. It was simple. You chose an item, paid small weekly amounts, and picked it up after finishing payments. No debt, no interest, no risk of overspending. Stores like Sears, J.C. Penney, and Montgomery Ward built entire counters for Layaway customers. In 1965 alone, Sears processed nearly 10 million Layaway purchases, everything from radios to wedding dresses. It felt empowering. You could plan, pay, and celebrate once it was truly yours. For lower-income families, it meant dignity. As one 1964 Chicago Tribune quote put it, "Layaway keeps promises honest." Layaway also slowed impulse buying. People had to think before committing. If something seemed less exciting after 2 weeks, they could cancel with little loss. Then came the shift, the rise of revolving credit and store cards in the late 1960s. That patience disappeared fast. But before easy credit took over, families focused on value, not speed. And that's where durable goods changed everything next. Why durable goods mattered more than trends or convenience. In the 1960s, buying something built to last wasn't a lifestyle choice. It was common sense. Families saved months for appliances meant to survive decades, not seasons. A 1962 Consumer Reports issue ranked washing machines by lifespan, and many lasted 15 years or more. Furniture came from solid oak or maple, built by companies like Ethan Allen or Crowler. People bragged about longevity, not design trends. Even clothing reflected that mindset. Wool coats, leather shoes, and heavy denim that could handle years of wear. The logic was simple. Quality meant fewer replacements, and fewer replacements meant more savings. A refrigerator that lasted 20 years saved hundreds in repair or replacement costs. That reliability built trust between buyers and brands, something that vanished once fast fashion and plastic parts took over. But the roots of thrift ran even deeper. They were planted early, sometimes before kids even learned algebra. And what schools taught about money back then might surprise you. The forgotten school savings programs that taught thrift before algebra. Across 1960s America, children lined up at school once a week with nickels and dimes in hand. It wasn't for lunch, it was for savings. The U.S. Treasury and local banks ran school savings programs through thousands of elementary schools. Each student got a small passbook, and every deposit, no matter how tiny, was stamped and recorded. In 1965, over 5 million students participated. Some schools even held Savings Fridays, turning thrift into a classroom competition. Teachers called it financial discipline. Parents called it peace of mind. Those nickels went toward bikes, college funds, or even a family emergency stash. The message stuck: save early, save regularly. However, as easy credit crept into American life by the late 1960s, those lessons began fading. Banks turned their focus to adults with charge cards and installment plans. That shift from saving to spending changed everything. And it started with a family car that was once seen as a luxury, but soon became a financial test. Why one car per family made more financial sense than two. In 1960, the average family had one car, and it stayed in the driveway longer than most marriages last today. The reason was money. A new sedan cost around $2,600, equal to nearly half a year's pay for a factory worker. Gas averaged 31 cents a gallon, insurance another $100 a year, and maintenance took up weekends. So families planned every trip with purpose. Moms shared rides to school, dads carpooled to work, and kids walked or biked. It wasn't about sacrifice, it was coordination. Communities even formed car share schedules, splitting costs before Uber ever existed. When second cars entered the scene in the late 1960s, they doubled expenses and quietly cut savings rates nationwide. That single-car discipline built financial resilience. It taught families how to balance time, money, and patience, skills modern convenience tends to erase. But there was one more rule that truly defined this era. A rule that made every dollar count, every decision deliberate, and every purchase feel earned. The simple rule that every 1960s family lived by: cash for everything, credit was temptation. Cash was controlled. That was the quiet motto behind 1960s financial peace. Families handled their paychecks like clockwork. The husband brought home a paper envelope, and the wife divided it into categories: rent, groceries, gas, and savings. No credit lines, no plastic, no hidden interest. Even large purchases, like furniture or appliances, were made after months of saving or through layaway. This system worked because it was visual. You could see what you had left. When the envelope was empty, spending stopped. The approach created discipline without spreadsheets or apps, just routine and awareness. It wasn't glamorous, but it built security. By 1968, personal savings rates hit nearly 12%, a number the U.S. hasn't seen since. But as that habit faded in the next decade, everything changed. Spending, debt, and even identity. And that shift, starting quietly in the 1970s, would rewrite the entire idea of the American paycheck. The 1960s weren't perfect, but their money rules built real freedom. Click the next video on your screen right now before it disappears. Another story from history's smartest savers is waiting for you.